Hello everyone! Have you ever wondered what South Africans and American farmers would do to protect their families when millions of baboons invade cities? They have no choice but to use the cruel methods you are about to see. It's 5 in the morning and the Cape Peninsula is still wrapped in cold. The only sound breaking the quiet is the sharp metallic clack-clack of rifles being loaded. Many South African farmers and licensed wildlife controllers keep on hand for managing baboons that repeatedly cause serious problems. In early 2024, after another season of troops breaking car windows, tearing off roof tiles, running through restaurants and grabbing full grocery bags right out of tourists' hands in places like Simonstown and Scarborough, the Western Cape expanded its selective management permit system. Only the most persistent, high-risk individuals, usually large adult males that have learned to charge at people or force their way into homes, receive a red tag. Once marked, they can be handled by licensed professionals under strict regulations. The men behind the rifles are not rangers. They are local farmers and licensed wildlife wardens, seasoned men who have spent years protecting vineyards and cattle from intelligent baboons. By 4 AM, they are on the surrounding hillsides, scanning the bush through scopes and watching for any movement as the landscape slowly awakens. Their ideal working distance is between 90 and 165 yards. Far enough away to avoid startling the herd, but close enough for a trained operator to handle the situation with precision and control. Everything is done quietly and professionally, with an emphasis on minimizing stress for both the animals and the surrounding community. One farmer in Limpopo once described the experience simply: you stay calm, follow instructions, and do what is necessary to keep your land and your family safe. For these farmers, it's not about sport or pride. It's about preventing damage that could wipe out an entire season's work in a single afternoon. Between 2024 and 2025, more than 380 baboons were managed under wildlife control operations in areas like Blyde River and the Cape Peninsula. Conservation groups strongly criticised the numbers, while local farmers felt a sense of relief for the first time in nearly 15 years. Nights passed without roof tiles being ripped off or cars being scratched apart in their driveways. But baboons don't simply give up. Each time a dominant male is removed through legal control programs, the troop quickly appoints a new leader, often more assertive, more unpredictable, and harder to deter. And when traditional methods aren't effective, some licensed wildlife teams rely on quieter, close-range tools like modern compound bows, which allow them to operate from 20 to 40 yards away from a concealed blind. These techniques aren't about sport. They're about reducing conflict when every other option has already failed. Should local governments invest more in prevention or stronger enforcement when repeated conflicts continue? They alert, constantly watching, constantly testing their response to any sound. Baboons have keen eyesight and always have one sentinel standing guard. One false signal and they will alert the entire group, making all the hours of waiting pointless. That is why bow hunting management is considered the most challenging activity at lodges like Somerby or trophy trails. Without explosions, without noise, but requiring patience. And for many South Africans, it is a last resort, as baboons continue to attack roofs, destroy crops, and disrupt daily life. Now in states like Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri, the final solution that was recently used on baboons in South Africa is being replicated quietly, brutally, and very effectively. In the next episode, I'll be accompanying a film crew to film the first legal night hunts that most people have ever seen. Want to know exactly what kind of weapon, what caliber, and what really happens when a red fox becomes enemy number one to livestock? Dozens of wild hogs swarmed out like a living flood, tearing up cornfields, digging up dirt and trampling steel fences in minutes. For East Texas farmer Thomas Caldwell, each night was a test of survival. I lost over $12,000, 0 cents, in a week of corn, fertilizer and irrigation, he said. They were fearless. They learned faster than we could trap them. Their reproductive rate made any control efforts hopeless. A sow could have 2 litters of 12 piglets a year. Within months, a pair had grown to hundreds of pigs spread across the landscape. They were smart, avoiding lights, knowing the scent of humans, and attacking only when the wind changed direction. So, how to combat this ravaging feral hog population? That's where the Texans got creative. In Fayette County, their fields had been attacked for 3 nights in a row. So steel panels stood upright in the darkness, forming a 30-foot wide circular trap. A patch of fermented corn lured the hogs straight in. Motion sensor cameras streamed live images to residents' phones. Everything was ready. Midnight. Movement on the screen. First one, then 5, then a whole herd. Boars fighting over prey. A tap on the phone and the gate slams shut with a loud metallic clang. The initial capture had been successful, but there were still thousands out there. The brutal truth about wire traps that farmers rarely talk about is that wild pigs are not robots, they are wild and intelligent creatures. After a few failed attempts, the herd will change trails to avoid the scent of the bait. Traps placed in the wrong funnel or poorly maintained will attract scavengers, disrupting the micro-ecosystem and spoiling the bait. Improper carcass disposal can also spread disease to livestock and hunting dogs. The investment cost of several $1,000s is just the beginning. Without constant monitoring, community coordination and biosecurity procedures, the traps will not only be ineffective, but will also cause the pigs to disperse further. So people need to comply with the correct implementation of wire traps. When traps are not effective enough or the herd is too wary, switch to planned night hunting, and the prime time is dusk to pre-dawn when the pigs are most active. Night hunting must have a team of 2 to 4 people, a primary shooter, a secondary shooter and thermal equipment for detection, avoiding bright lights that scare the herd. Absolutely do not shoot at houses or public roads. Notify neighbours at least 24 hours in advance and record the location of the activity. Have you asked landowner permission and checked local regulations before setting up traps or night hunt? Before you do anything, remember that on private land in Texas, feral hog control is allowed year-round, but must be done with landowner permission, following Texas Parks and Wildlife guidelines, notifying neighbours when hunting at night. Proper carcass disposal and reporting suspected disease require a specialised permit and must be done by a licensed team, meaning all tactics must be legal, safe and coordinated with the proper authorities before starting. In actual performance, small team rifle hunts typically take 1 to 6 animals per run, with large variations depending on pack density, team skill and field conditions. Do you find this to be true, or is it due to poor hunting technique on the part of the hunter? It was a quiet evening in Columbus, Georgia. An elderly farmer in his 50s was driving his pickup truck through a neighborhood near the Chattahoochee River, hauling feed. Suddenly, the truck collided with a 300-pound wild hog, slamming into the hood and bending the metal. This was not a quiet country road, this was Columbus, and wild hogs were taking over the city streets. Did you know that wild hogs are now ravaging 35 states, causing more than $2 billion 0 cents in damage each year? In Columbus, they're a full-blown menace, tearing up lawns, smashing fences, and now crashing into vehicles. Just last week, a wild hog destroyed a park on Warm Springs Road, leaving behind piles of dirt and broken benches. These beasts, some weighing up to 400 pounds, reach speeds of 30 miles per hour. For those watching in Columbus, it's the reality of surviving an attack, then hunting down these monsters to save your city. To stop these invaders, you've got to hunt them where they strike in the city and do it legally and fast. Hunting is real, and Georgia has you covered. A hunting license costs $15, 0 cents for residents, up to $65, 0 cents for non-residents, with no season and no gun limit. In Columbus, you have to coordinate with authorities to ensure safety and legality. The farmer, who applied for a permit, used a .308 rifle to bring down wild hogs with precision. What's the best time to hunt urban wild hogs? In the fall and winter, they forage for food in city parks and alleys. Hunting wild hogs in Columbus, Georgia requires a strategic shift from city streets to open country fields, and for good reason. Urban neighbourhoods are a hunter's nightmare, with narrow streets surrounded by homes, strict noise regulations, and the constant risk of missing shots making hunting in the city a no-go. In the fields outside Columbus, the game changes for hunters with open space, clear lines of sight, and the annoyance of city laws. Hunters start with a 3.5/8 rifle, the boom echoing across the fields, taking down a 3.5 50-pound wild hog. With a single well-aimed shot at 100 yards is a quick shot that clears the neighbourhood of the threat. But rifles are noisy, attracting attention even in rural areas, so authorities switched to a quieter weapon, a 70-pound compound bow. Bow hunting trades noise for stealth in rural fields on the edge of suburbia, where silence keeps things discreet. Unlike the power of a rifle, a bow requires you to get as close as 30 yards or less to test your skills. The farmer sets up camp on a tree stand perched high in an oak overlooking a field off River Road, where wild boars attack at dusk. The hunter waits, eyes fixed on a clearing baited with corn. A 300-pound boar enters, burrowing beneath, oblivious to the danger above. A steady shot lands with precision. Hunting isn't the only way. There are humane options. Residents can protect their property by locking trash cans, removing pet food, and installing motion-activated lights. A neighbourhood near Columbus State University cut wild visits in half with strict trash disposal rules. Reporting wild hog sightings to the DNR produces a quick response. One call on Midland Road led to a trap that caught 3 wild hogs in a week. Farmers have joined a group that traps, baits and shares tips at community meetings. More than 100 residents now report wild hog sightings weekly, helping Columbus stay ahead of the curve.
These approaches have been great at stopping the spread of some invasive species. Got any ideas for even better solutions? Drop your thoughts in the comments so we can all dive into it together. Thanks for sticking around and watching the whole video. If you liked it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And hey, be sure to tell your friends about us too so they can check it out. Bye and see you in the next video.